Hi guys, so today we're going to be talking about congruent triangles. What congruent triangles mean is that they have the same size and shape, the lengths are the same, and then the angles are the same, right? When we're talking about congruent triangles, the order in which we write things matters, right? So for example here, when we're saying that triangle ABC is congruent to triangle EFG, the order in which the letters appears now matters, okay? Because A here corresponds to E. Note that it's those two angles that are congruent to each other, right? B corresponds to F, because note that it's those two angles that are congruent to each other. And then C here corresponds with G. They're both third here because these angles correspond to each other, right? Or another way of seeing it, AB, this side here, is congruent to EF for a second, right? Shown by the two tick marks. BC here, shown by two tick marks, corresponds to FG, also with two tick marks, okay? So the order matters because then we can see its corresponding parts, right? A with E, B with F, C with G, they're angles, as well as the sides, right? So here you can see it's color-coded, red to blue, red to blue, blue to green, and then red to green, red to green. Okay? So when you're doing your proofs eventually for congruent triangles, or especially for this lesson as you're talking about corresponding parts, okay, the order matters. Okay? So here, it's important to remember that two triangles are congruent if and only if their corresponding parts are congruent. Okay? Which leads us to something that we often say as CPCTC, and what it means is that corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Okay, so once we know that triangles are congruent, the parts that correspond with each other are going to be congruent, have the same measures. Okay. So here we go. Starting with example 1. So the legs of this stool form two right triangles. Okay. Suppose the measures in inches are QR equals 12, RS is 23, and QS is 24. Okay. RT is 12, TV is 24, and RV is 23. We are now going to name the corresponding congruent angles and sides. Okay, so here, let's color code them. Okay, so this is QR, 12 goes with RT. Okay, RS goes with TV, and then RS goes with RV. Okay, so QR corresponds with this RT. Okay. QS here corresponds with TV, because note these are the ones that are 24. Okay. And then RS corresponds with RV. Okay. So let's start with the angles. So this one is the blue and the pink going together. So angle Q is congruent with pink and blue also, so angle T. Okay. Angle R. So this one I should name it more clearly because that can be confusing. So this is QRS. So angle QRS is congruent to, so I need to go in the same order. So if I'm going from here, 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 it should be here, here, here. Angle TRV. Right, so it helps because I knew Q and T are the corresponding parts. Since this is first here, this has to be first. Okay. And then angle S here corresponds and is congruent to angle V. So that's the congruent angles. Okay. Now let's do sides. So QR is congruent to TR. Right. Note that this is the blue. I went from the blue-pink intersection to the blue-yellow intersection. So same thing when I name this one. Has to be blue-pink intersection to blue-yellow intersection. Okay. Then RS corresponds to RV. Okay. And then the last one here, QS corresponds to TV. And then when I'm naming these congruent triangles, the first one, it doesn't matter what order I do, right? So if I do QRS, however, now the second one has to correspond with it, okay? So the one that corresponds with Q is T, so that way, since Q is first, T has to be first. R corresponds with R, so since that one's second, it has to be second when I name the next one. And then S is third, so the one that corresponds to it, V, also has to be third. Okay, so why don't you try CYP 1A and 1B, and then once you're done, come check your answer. Okay, this is what you should have gotten. So angle P, so note the pink blue here, corresponds to O, the pink blue here. Angle D, pink yellow, corresponds with angle C, pink yellow. Okay. Angle Q, blue yellow, corresponds to angle E, blue yellow. Okay. And then PD corresponds with OC. Okay, it has to be OC in this order. If not, if you chose DP, then it'll be CO. Okay, but P corresponds with O and D corresponds with C. So that, depending where the first one is, that determines the second one. Okay, DQ is congruent to CE, and PQ is congruent to OE. Okay, naming the congruent triangles, triangle PDQ is congruent to triangle OCE. Okay, because P corresponds with O, D corresponds with C, and Q corresponds with E. Okay. Okay, so then the next one here is transformations in the coordinate plane. Okay, so the vertices of triangle CDE are C, negative 5, 7, D, negative 8, 6, and E, negative 3, 3. The vertices of triangle C prime, D prime, E prime are C prime is at 5, 7, D prime is at 8, 6, and E prime is 3, 3. We want to verify, does triangle CDE, is it congruent to triangle C prime, D prime, E prime? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the measurements each. Okay, so I'm going to start with CD and see how long it is. Okay, so that'll be negative 5 minus negative 8 squared plus 7 minus 6 squared. Negative 5 minus a negative is plus, so this becomes plus 8. So this is 3 squared. 7 minus 6 is 1. 3 squared is 9. 1 squared is 1. So this becomes square root of 10. Okay. Then I'm going to do the same thing for C prime, D prime's points. Right. So 5 minus 8 squared plus 7 minus 6. 5 minus 8 is negative 3. 7 minus 6 is 1. Negative 3 squared is 9. 1 squared is 1. 9 plus 1 is 10. So far, so good. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same thing for DE and EC, okay, and then see if those match as well. Okay, so when I do the distance formula for each of these sides, DE is square root of 34, D prime, E prime is also square root of 34, so far so good. Two sides are congruent to the other two sides of the other triangle. CE is 2 square root of 5, and C prime, E prime is also 2 square root of 5. And so since these are congruent, this is true, right? Due to corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. Okay. So the transformation that happened is that this here was a flip or a reflection. So basically what happened, it was here and then it reflected, flipped onto this side. Okay. Okay, so why don't you try CYP2, and then once you're done, come check your answer. Okay, this is what you should have gotten. So Ln and L prime N prime have a distance of 4. Okay, Lm, L prime M prime, Mn and M prime N prime both all have a distance of 2 square root of 5, so note that the corresponding parts are congruent. Right, so that shows that the triangles are congruent here. And for 2b, the congruence transformation that happened is a rotation or a turn. What basically happened is this turned to be here. Okay. So that's it for today. Have a great rest of the day. Bye, guys.